Thank you for that lengthy introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here in Nigeria and speaking to African actuaries. I myself was very briefly an African actuary. I grew up in South Africa and more than 50 years ago had an internship with an insurance company in Cape Town. They gave me a position, they were trying to recruit me, gave me a position where it wasn't clear at all what I was supposed to do. I felt that I was adding no value at all in this company, and I hated what I was doing. All the actuarial students around me spent their time talking about how difficult the exams are. This was not what I wanted to do for a career. I was much more interested in economics. And so I went off and got a degree in economics and wanted to become an economist. And we heard today about the role of the actuary in the economy. I'll talk more about that in a moment. I think that economics is the key to a lot of what we do, and we don't emphasize it enough in our exam system, but that's a different issue for another day. I was fortunate, though, when I graduated, that I did find an actuarial job, and it's been a wonderful career, as I said, for more than 50 years. During this time, as I said in my election video, which you can see on my YouTube channel, my election video, I've been able to pass a total of 12 exams. That's nice of you to applaud, but it goes with the territory. 12 exams, I practiced in 4 continents, and I started and sold 5 companies. So I think it's a little unusual for an actuary. It's all based on the actuarial training and discipline that you get, I think, from pursuing this career. Something about being older than all of you. I'm older not only than you, but also than your parents. As I said, I've been an actuary for more than 50 years. Comes a desire to offer advice to the younger generation. So whether you like it or not, I'm going to give you some advice for your career. The first thing is, develop something that you're not just good at, but better than anyone else. Make it your area of expertise, and you'll find that clients, employers, and colleagues will seek you out for your advice. Your expertise is important. It's what employers pay you for, and it's what sets you apart. My second piece of advice is develop your personal brand. Become well known. Seize the opportunity to speak to audiences and to write. Years ago, I edited a newsletter for the Society of Actuaries consulting section. And one of the things I did in the newsletter was interview actuaries, consulting actuaries, about how they got their start in the business. I interviewed a woman named Barbara Lautzenheiser. She had been president of the Society of Actuaries and the American Academy of Actuaries. I asked her how she got her start. She summed up her experience as never turning down a speaking opportunity. She said, I went from mousy to mouthy. So my personal advice is your brand is important. It's no good just being great at something. People should know you for that. And the third thing, you're here to study to become actuaries, and you're going to be passing exams, which is great. That's what we're here for. But pursue real continuing education. The actuarial exams are grueling, but they're worth it. In my experience, too many actuaries give up when they reach the fellowship. They don't pursue further studies. But I view the fellowship as just the beginning of that educational journey. There's a world of interesting material out there, some actuarial, some from adjacent fields. I said I wanted to become an economist. I've built a successful career by applying economics within the actuarial profession. You'll know that you're really learning when it hurts. But it's worth it, and it contributes to points 1 and 2, becoming an expert, getting known for it. I didn't complete my PhD when I was at Oxford 50 years ago. I came back and did it. I started 10 years ago. I entered industry fellow, started companies, and then decided that I really wanted to learn more about what I was doing in the actuarial field. So as actuaries, we are often generalists, but the world is becoming more specialized. We run the risk of losing out to specialists, data scientists, quants, AI specialists. Continuing education contributes to those other points of mine, expertise and your reputation. I gave up on my first actuarial career because I didn't find the work interesting. But our work is both interesting and rewarding, as I've found as I pursued a career. As you know, I teach in a university, and the question that is most often asked by students is, aside from how do I pass the exams, is what is the work really like that actuaries do? What will I be doing as a member of this profession? Students don't know what to expect. There are three things that the profession has allowed me to do that I didn't expect. The first of these, as I said at the beginning, is I didn't want to become an actuary. I became one because I needed a job. I've told that story. But I never thought that I would become an entrepreneur. In fact, the idea of depending on myself financially, let alone having employees that I was financially responsible for, scared me. But things happened, and about 25 years ago, the company that I was working for closed, and I needed a job, and I couldn't find a regular actuarial job. So I started my own consulting company and built it from there. I'm on company number 6 now. I, the founder, was perfect. You learn a lot being an entrepreneur. You learn a lot, and you learn a lot quickly, I think. Everybody should start a company at some point in their career, and you'll find out that the boss's job is not as easy as you think it is. The profession, our profession, the actuarial profession, needs more entrepreneurs. Nigerians have a great reputation for entrepreneurship, and I look forward to hearing your stories. The third thing that the actuarial profession has allowed me to do is leadership. I was a typical introverted actuary. I never stepped up, I never volunteered for anything. I stayed in the shadows crunching numbers. But through my company work and my volunteer work at the Society of Actuaries, I began to see things that I thought could be done better. I volunteered for my first leadership role in the Society in 1998. So it's been 28 years of volunteering at the Society of Actuaries. The Society is a great organization, and it's a great organization in which to practice leadership. There are so many things we can improve. Along the way, I've made a couple of contributions. One of these may seem very minor to you, but if you look at the Society of Actuaries logo over there, the Society never had a logo. They had a seal, which when you become a fellow, you will get a seal on your document. But we never had a logo, and in 2010, the board decided the Society needed a logo. We went through a process of trying to develop a logo. It was a very lengthy process because we're actuaries and very deliberate about things. And eventually, because it was a step for the Society, the fellows got to vote on the new logo. And I could say that I managed to get 20,000 fellows of the Society of Actuaries to agree on that logo and that color scheme. It was not easy. It may seem trivial to you, but getting actuaries to agree on anything, not easy. So, the other thing I made my contribution is predictive analytics. I was early in the field of predictive analytics for actuaries in the 1990s, when we began to have access to more powerful computing and large databases in healthcare. And I thought around about the time I was on the board in 2010, that it was time that we began to introduce training and education in predictive analytics for actuaries. And so I was one of the motivators behind an exam that some of you may encounter someday, called the Predictive Analytics exam. And we were successful in getting that introduced. I think the first one was administered around about 2016, and I've been following it ever since. So I think actuaries now are much better trained in data analytics and data science, and you're probably getting trained on campus as well, which is great. But we have to compete with other professions in this area, and so it's important that we train young actuaries and that we credential young actuaries. So I take some pleasure in having been responsible for introducing this major step for the society. My point is, though, as an actuary, you're a member of a dynamic society where you can practice leadership and change the world for the better. Leadership skills that you can practice within the Society of Actuaries framework translate into your work environment as well. So as an actuary, you will be a member of a great international body. You will meet interesting colleagues with common interests in risk and risk management. They'll be your friends and mentors, and they'll help you to the extent that they can. There are just a few of those annoying exams to get out of the way on the way to being a great actuary. I wish you all a very successful actuarial career.